Hi guys, it's Bog here, and I'm going to be showing some of the changes made to paladins in the Mists of Pandaria. I'm going to start by going through all the talents and showing step by step which talents I've chosen and why, and demonstrating each talent and how it works. The first tier is the movement tier, and we've got three options: the speed of light, long armor for law, which is basically exactly the same as the current paladin gap closer, and the pursuit of justice. The speed of light is a 70% movement increase for 8 seconds on a 1 minute cooldown. Now, I see this personally to be rather gimmicky, won't be used much in PvP by anyone with a brain, and I mean it might be used if you really need to get somewhere quickly in a raid, but other than that I really can't see any use for this talent. Long Armor for Law is essentially exactly the same as it is currently on live, 45% movement increase for 3 seconds every time you judge. The only difference I can see is that it doesn't have a 15-yard requirement like it does now. So on live, if you're 5 yards away from a target and you judge, you won't receive a movement in speed increase, but if you're 20 yards away and you judge, you will. The Pursuit of Justice has been reworked for Mists of Pandaria. Now it gives you a 10% movement and speed increase all the time. However, it gives you extra 10% for every holy power charge you have, stacking up to 3 times. So if you've got 1 holy power, you're moving at 120% movement speed. If you've got 3, you're moving at 140. And given how easy it is for Retribution paladins to get holy power at range, you can essentially have 3 or 2 holy power at any time. So this could be a really strong talent. You can have paladins moving around the arena super quickly and staying on their target really well. The second tier of the paladin tree is a crowd control tier. So we've got Fists of Justice, which replaces Hammer of Justice with a 30-second cooldown. Repentance, which is as it is on live, however it has a 1.3-second cast time. And Burden of Guilt, which means that your judgment gives a 70% slow for I think it's 10 seconds. Fists of Justice could be very strong in some comps in Arena. Obviously, if you're playing with a rogue, it would be nigh on useless. I mean, your stuns would just be constantly DR'd, but in a comp without very many stuns, it could be very useful having a stun every 30 seconds. Repentance now has a cast time. Now this is a massive nerf. It has no cooldown, but it has a cast time of 1.3 seconds. We saw with Frost DKs when their CC became a cast time that it became almost impossible to get any CC off in melee range. So this I see as a massive nerf and almost makes it impossible for Retribution Paladins to use Repentance effectively. Retribution Paladins have a slow. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to talent into Burden of Guilt, your judgment will slow the target by 50% for 10 seconds. I've been testing this out on the beta on some mobs, and it is ridiculous. They cannot actually touch you. You can just run away at 140% movement speed increase with a 50% slow on your enemy. I feel like a Death Knight, but with ridiculous self-heals. It's absolutely stunning. This might overlap a bit with the Seal of Justice, which I'll explain later, which slows your target by 50% in melee range, but having that ranged slow on judgment is just simply amazing. The third tier of the Paladin talent tree is the healing tree, basically. So we've got Selfless Healer, Eternal Flame, and Sacred Shield. Sacred Shield I haven't had much of a chance to look at in detail. I think what's happened is it's essentially been returned to the way it was back in Wrath of the Lich King. You can cast it at any time. It's no longer just a Retribution talent that procs when you're at 30% health, and I think it does what the Retribution talent did. It increases healing done and the critical chance of Word of Glory maybe, but you can use it at any time. Eternal Flame puts a heal over time on your target. Now this is so needed for Holy Paladins, having something to do when their target's on full health. This could really help out when Holy Paladins get in that inevitable CC and they just need to They need to keep their target up through that 15, 16, 20 second CC chain. But for Retribution Paladins, I can't see much use for this. The healing is just too small, it's really not going to do much. Selfless Healer is what I think I would definitely go with. It's kind of modelled on the current Word of Glory Selfless Healer model. Basically, every time you judge, your Flash of Light becomes 33% faster and requires 33% less mana, and basically you can Flash of Light people for a lot of health. So you get 3 stacks up with 3 judgments, and you just instantly Flash of Light someone for, I think it's about the same as the current Word of Glory. So yeah, that's basically replacing the current Word of Glory Selfless Healer, so that's definitely what most Paladins will be going with, I think, as Retribution spec. The 4th tier of the Paladin tree focuses on our cooldowns, our defensive cooldowns, namely Bubble, Lay on Hands. We have a new prep button on our Bop, and Hand of Purity, which is a new hand that Paladins can train into. Hand of Purity is a 70% damage reduction to all periodic damage effects for 6 seconds on a 1-minute cooldown. So this could be immensely effective against a dot cleave, such as a spicy chicken cleave in arena, or a shadow cleave or something, just to almost eliminate those periodic damage effects for 7 seconds. Could really help you regain ascendancy. But it is very situational. How often do you come up against dot cleaves? I don't know. Yeah, it could be very strong, it could be very underpowered. Unbreakable Spirit is the second option, and the option I think I'll be going with. It's basically every time you use Holy Power, it reduces the cooldown of your bubble by a certain percentage, down to, I think it can be down to half of the actual cooldown of the 5-minute cooldown of bubble. So this means that basically it reduces the cooldown of bubble to 2.5 minutes, because you'll be spending that Holy Power. This is a great change both for Holy and Rat in Arena. Retribution really relies on Bubble quite strongly, and having a 2.5 minute cooldown on Bubble is absolutely immense. And Holy essentially having another trinket is just really, really strong. I think the choice will be between Unbreakable Spirit and this new talent, Clemency, which is essentially a preparation button for Paladins. We get all of our hands: Hand of Sacrifice, Hand of Freedom, Hand of Protection, or Bop, is all put back off cooldown. So basically, you can bop one party member, and then press your Clemency button and bop another one if you're really in trouble. So this could be really strong in arena. I think it's definitely going to be a toss-up between Unbreakable Spirit and Clemency. The 5th and final tier that's available on the Paladin talent tree is the cooldowns / Holy Power proc tree. So we've got Holy Avenger, which is on a 2-minute cooldown, Sanctified Wrath, and Divine Purpose. Holy Avenger is like Zealotry but on steroids. It essentially says that every time you cast anything that would produce a Holy Power, it produces 3 instead. So Exorcism, Hammer of Wrath, Judgment, and Crusader Strike all produce 3 Holy Power for 15 seconds. It's absolutely insane how much Holy Power you can get, and you can just absolutely annihilate people with this talent. I wouldn't be surprised if it got nerfed, but yeah, at the moment it's clearly the top choice. Probably the second choice for most is Sanctified Wrath. Now, Sanctified Wrath for Retribution means that when you cast Wings, which, by the way, in Mists of Pandaria cannot be dispelled, so that's a good change. When you cast your Wings, you can cast Hammer of Wrath every single global. I feel like a complete noob using this. You just sit there, pop Wings, and you kite, and just Hammer of Wrath every single global, but I can see how it'd be nice if you're getting kited and you need to kill something, but I think weighing up against Holy Avenger, it's just not worth it. Divine Purpose is the same as it is on live. You have a 15% chance with every ability that makes a Holy Power that it'll proc Divine Purpose, which is just a 3 Holy Power proc. This might be better DPS for PvE, you never know. Thanks for watching, guys. That's the end of part 1 of my Ret Paladin overview of Mists of Pandaria talents. I'll be uploading another video with just general spell changes for the rest of the spec, and anything else that might have changed for, say, the Holy spec in PvP.